today's pose is going to be focused on posture. I had a request from that from Reddit, so I thought it'd be fun to accommodate that request. Okay, let's get started. So, coming into a tabletop position here. Settling in, shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees. We're going to start off with a few cat-cows just to begin. So inhale, drop your belly, gaze up. And exhale here into cat, lengthening your back. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Hello, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Now just keep going. A few of these at your own pace. So the theory behind today's practice will be to lengthen the hip flexors, lengthen the quadriceps, the lower back, and the chest, while we're going to work on strengthening our glutes, our hamstrings, and our abs. So those exercises will help combat the tight muscles and the weak muscles that come from sitting hunched over, especially in front of a computer desk. Okay, find some stillness here. So bring your left knee towards the center of your mat so you have some good balance, and kick your right knee up. We're going to pulse here by kicking up your knee. So we're going to do 5 pulses. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. We're going to extend that right knee here. Stay strong in your core. An option to lift that left hand. Again, you can pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, staying here for a few breaths. Engage in the core, nice and strong, as if you could place a plank of wood on your back. Now, if there's room, you can bend that right knee and reach back with your left hand and grab that right knee. Kick back with your right knee so you feel that stretch over the front of your left shoulder. Maybe you feel your right hip flexor stretching as well. Perfect. Release back to center. And we'll go for the left side. So bring your left knee up and pulse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lengthen that left leg. Option to sweep your right arm forward. And we pulse that left leg again, except straight this time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reach back with your right hand as you grab that left foot. Kick back. Enjoy the stretch in your right shoulder here. And release your arms to the ground. We're going to come into downward puppy. So walk your hands forward and begin to sink your chest down towards the mat, keeping your hips on top of your knees, drawing in your core. Option to have your chin or your forehead on the mat. One more breath here. Keeping your forearms rounded, we're going to roll forward onto Cobra Pose. Or actually Sphinx Pose here. I lied. So starting off with Sphinx. Forearms on the mat, adjacent to each other, parallel. And inhale, lift your chest off the mat and look in front of you. Place pressure through both of your hands. onto the mat. Take your hands by your side. We're going to inhale again. Lift your chin, chest, and upper abdominals off the mat. And lift your hands off the mat too, palms face down. We're going to pulse our arms. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Staying here, making sure with every pulse you're squeezing your shoulder blades together and opening up your chest. Again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your cheek onto the mat. Take a couple of breaths here. Round 2, coming up with your upper chest. An option to lift your legs. Keep your feet about hips distance apart. We're going to pulse all 4 of the limbs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay up here in this modified locust pose. And again, pulse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release onto the mat. Take your hands by your chest and push up into Cobra. Your elbows are going to be by the sides of your body. And if you can, try to straighten your elbows. And bend the knees, coming into Child's Pose here. Child's Pose is really nice for stretching that lower back here that often is tight for most of us. So breathe space into the vertebrae of your low back. Coming forward into tabletop position, tucking your toes and pushing back into downward facing dog. Pedal your dog here, explore it. And eventually you'll find stillness here, grounding down through all 10 of your fingertips, sending your heels towards the ground and tilting your hips forward. Enjoy. Walk your feet forward halfway in this shortened down dog. And finally, walk your feet to the front of the mat. Bending your elbows and taking your hands in your elbows, swaying side to side, ragdoll. Gently releasing your hands to the floor, and we'll roll up to standing, stacking vertebrae by vertebrae on top of each other. How slow can you go? Let your head and neck come up last. Perfect. Inhale, sweep your shoulders up to your ears, and exhale, let them fall behind you. We'll float, Sunday. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, arms up again. Exhale, dive forward. Maybe take your hands behind your calves. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Step back to plank pose, either from your toes or your knees. And lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. And exhale, tuck your toes, down dog. One breath, inhale here. And exhale. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, either hop, walk, or step to the front of the mat. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep your arms up overhead. Hands heart center. Maybe take a slight back bend. Exhale, fold.
Halfway lift.
Plant your hands, hop or step to plank. Lower down strong. Upward dog. Downward dog.
One breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift your heels. Hop or step your feet from the mat. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep arms up.
Hands to heart center. Sweep your arms up, maybe take a back bend. Dive it forward, up.
Halfway lift.
Plant your hands. Lower down, chaturanga. Upward dog. And tuck your toes, downward dog.
3 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Moving to Sun Salutation B. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees,
Hop or step to the front of the mat. I'm going to sink back into chair pose. So let your hips fall as you sweep your arms up overhead. Now you should still be able to see your toes, so send your hips back if you can't quite see your toes yet. And if this pose doesn't work well for your shoulders, you can place your hands in heart center. Staying here for a few breaths, strengthening those gluteus muscles. And exhale, lengthen the knees, fold forward.
Inhale, halfway lift.
Exhale, plant your hands. I'm just gonna wait for my cat to pass before I step back to plank, lower down, upward facing, and downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and set your right foot between your hands. Sweep up to high lunge here. And make sure to square your hips to the front of the mat so you maybe feel a bonus stretch in your left hip flexor. Option to interlace your hands, maybe gaze up at your hands. Exhale, windmill your hands down to the ground. Take your right foot back and float. 3-legged plank or regular plank. Upward dog, downward dog.
Inhale, sweep that left leg up momentarily. Exhale, step that left foot between your hands.
Bring your arms up,
Finding a nice, stable lunge here.
option to interlace your hands, of course, and gaze up. Windmill your hands down to the ground. Take that left foot back and take your flow. Upward facing, tucking toes,
Downward facing dog. We'll move through that Sun B a little quicker this time. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, hop or step,
front of the mat. Sweep your arms up, hit chair, inhale. Exhale, lengthen the legs, fold over.
halfway lift,
Plant your hands, hop or step to plank, lower down chaturanga. Upward facing dog, tucking toes,
downward dog. Inhale, sweep that right leg up,
step it between your hands. Come up to high lunge. Exhale, windmill your hands down and flow in chaturanga. Upward facing, tucking toes,
downward facing dog. Sweep that left leg up. Inhale, exhale, step that left foot between your hands. High lunge. One breath. Exhale, lower down in chaturanga. Upward facing. And downward facing dog. Take this time to catch your breath or grab some water if you need. Option to take child's pose at all. If you want to try lengthening your low back some more. Just a break. No judgment from me, and there should be no judgment from yourself. We'll all eventually find downward dog. So we're going to move into a warrior series here. So that'll allow us to strengthen our glutes, a muscle that's often weak when we have poor posture. So bringing your feet together to touch in the back of your mat. Inhale, sweep that right leg up. Bring that right hip down here. We're going to try pulsing that right foot up. So keep your hips square to the ground as you pulse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Step that right foot between your hands. Set that left heel down as you sweep up to warrior 1. Hands maybe interlace, or if you don't want them interlaced, just keep them by each other. Option to look up towards your hands. Sink a little further in your right knee if it's not quite at 90 degrees yet. And now we open up to warrior 2. Pivot your back foot so it's 90 degrees with your right foot. Gaze over your right hand here. Letting your shoulders fall away from your ears. One more breath. From here we transition to warrior 3. So come up onto the ball of your left foot. Take your hands by your side and try to do this in one movement. So push forward your left foot and begin to lean forward. So I step back a little. There you go. So you can see this warrior 3. Few options with your hands by your heart, by your side, or straight in front of you. Taking care to square the hips to the ground. Use your hamstrings to lift that left leg. Keeping a micro bend in that right foot. And plant your hands down on the ground. And we flow. So I'm going to take a handstand flow, but you can come directly into plank, or you can come straight into downward dog. Upward facing dog. And downward dog. Perfect. Alrighty. Other side. Are you ready? Let's do this. Okay, so bring your feet together to touch. Inhale, sweep that left leg up. Perfect. Hips square to the ground, and we pulse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Now bring your foot between your hands. Step that back heel down. Inhale up, meeting in warrior 1. Sinking that left knee down. Opening up your chest to the front of your mat. A few more breaths here. And now we're going to open up to warrior 2. Pivot that back foot,
open your arms, let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Look towards that left hand. Try to draw your left knee towards the left side of your mat if possible, so that you can see the inner edge of your left toe. Your big toe, rather. One more breath here. To warrior 3. Come up onto the ball of your back foot and push forward to warrior 3. Again, finding an arm variation that works for you. Staying here for about 5 breaths. Alrighty, placing your hands down on the mat and flow or come straight into downward dog. I'm going to play with handstands here, totally optional. Alright, from downward dog, we're going to roll forward into plank. Few options here. You can take your knees down to the ground, or you can take your forearms down to the ground if that's not so nice on your wrists. Whatever version of plank that you choose, what you really want to do is tuck your hips. So there's a tendency to jut your hips out like that. So nope. Whoop. Tuck them in. Again, imagine you can place a plank of wood on your back and it will just balance perfectly. Stay here for about 30 more seconds. One more breath in your plank here. And come up onto your hands if you're not there already, and push back to downward dog. If you need, take child's pose to relax your core. If you're in child's pose, come back into downward dog and we'll float. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, hop or step to the front of the mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Hands heart center. Sweep arms up again, take a back bend. Dive it forward. Halfway lift, plant your hands, hop or step to plank, and lower down. Upward facing dog, and downward dog. Now we'll move into a series that will focus on the hip flexors and the quadriceps. So inhale, sweep your right leg up to the sky. Bend the right knee, stack your hips on top of each other, and begin to flirt with wild thing as you tilt back. Maybe you hit wild thing and expand your chest. Slowly come back to three-legged dog and step your right foot between your hands. Set your left knee down, maybe tucking it on the mat by tucking the mat in like this, or grabbing a pillow for underneath that knee. Gently place your hands on your right thigh, and maybe this is enough for you, or if you'd like to take it further, sweep your arms up overhead, interlace your hands, and look slightly behind you. Feel your hips sinking down into the ground, stretching the left hip flexor here, staying strong in your core still. To take this further, release your left hand onto your left leg and begin to lean back. Bonus side body stretch. You stay here or bend that left knee, grabbing a hold of the foot and bringing the leg into your body. Now the stretch might be quite intense here. Send breath to your hips. Gently release that back leg. Pivot your hands to the ground and move your right foot to the left side of the mat as we settle down for pigeon. Option to tuck something underneath your right hip if your hips are hovering above the mat. Begin to place your forearms down onto the mat, and perhaps your forehead touches as well. If you'd like to take this a little further, you can scoot your hips back a little bit more, or you can manipulate your right leg forward a little so that your right shin is a little bit more parallel towards the front of the mat. Be sure to keep your left hip heavy, so square both hips to the mat. You can stay here longer or come up and try half mermaid or full mermaid. So tuck your right foot in and find a bend in that left knee. Grab a hold of that left leg. Maybe you can take a strap or a towel and wrap it around your back foot and grab the towel if you can't quite reach it yet. And begin to press that left leg into your hips. Perhaps you can graze your side body with your fingertips. Now stay here, or you can try for half mermaid by sliding that foot into the crease of your left hand, and that's enough. Or full mermaid, clasp your hands behind your body. Gazing forward still. Being strong in your core. Gently release this pose. Bring your left leg in front of you, keeping that left knee bent. Place your right foot on the mat, and that'll be about at the level of your left knee. We're going to come into half hero here, so you can begin to lean back onto your forearms, and maybe this is quite intense for you, and if so, stay here. Another option is to come all the way onto the mat. Feeling that stretch in your left quadriceps. If you still don't quite feel it yet, option to
bring that right knee into your body and use your hands to draw that right knee closer. Trying your best to keep the left knee on the ground here. From here, we're going to untuck the left knee, grab a hold of your thighs, and roll up and back, thinking of this as a massage for your back and your spine. Eventually, we plant our feet, hands come in front, hop or step back to plank, lower down, upward facing, tucking your toes, downward dog. Other side here. Inhale, sweep that left leg up, stack the hips, bend the left knee, begin to flip the dog. Wild thing. Slowly place your left hand back on the mat, meeting momentarily in three-legged dog, and bringing your left knee to your nose, setting that left foot between your hands. Right knee touches the ground, and place your hands on your thighs or overhead. If your hands are overhead, try interlacing your hands with the other thumb on top, like shaking hands with a stranger, and option to gaze up towards the sky. If your hands are up, release that right hand onto your right leg and begin to tilt back, opening up your left ribs. Sending breath to the left side of your body. Option to bend that right knee as you grab a hold of that foot and draw it closer to your body. This is quite an intense pose, so place the focus on your breath here. Steady inhales and exhales. Gently release your hands to the ground. Let go of your back foot and coming into pigeon. Again, you can take this pigeon deeper by shifting your hips back or your left foot forward. You can come up here, tucking in that left foot closer towards your body. Bend that right knee and grab a hold of the back foot, bringing it closer to your right hip.
option to slide that foot into your elbow crease for half mermaid, or clasp your hands for full mermaid. Release your hand, sweep your right knee forward, keeping that knee bent, and place your left foot on the ground, about a foot in front of your hips. You can begin to walk your hands behind you. Find the edge that works for your right quadriceps. Maybe that's on your forearms or all the way down. Taking whichever variation you'd like, either foot on the ground or drawing your left knee to your body. Take note of how different the right side feels compared to your left side. Asymmetry is totally okay. There's no need to demand the same on one side versus the other. Untuck the right knee. Place your hands behind your thighs and we'll roll up into boat pose. Keeping your knees bent to begin, you really want to have nice posture in your upper body. So open up your chest towards, perhaps in front of you a little higher. And if you're feeling strong, you can take your hands off of your legs so that they're parallel to the ground, or even straightening your legs. Be careful not to hunch your upper back. You want to remain open in your heart. One more breath here in full boat. And we'll lower down to half boat here. So hovering your legs off of the ground and hovering your shoulders off the ground. For added challenge, you can try to take your hands behind your head or extend them behind you. One more breath. And release. Nice job. Bend the knees here. We're going to move into a series of back bends, starting off with bridge, or if there's any other back bend you prefer instead, go for that. Planting your feet by your hips. You should be able to graze your heels with your fingertips. And inhale, lift your hips, squeeze your glutes together. Perhaps you'd like to interlace your hands underneath and coming onto your shoulder blades. Gently release onto the ground. For our second back bend, we're going to use some wall space. So you want to stand about a foot or two in front of the wall. Place your hands onto the wall, just slightly above your head, and begin to sink your upper body towards the wall. So jutting your hips out and feeling that stretch in your latissimus dorsi. So those are the big long muscles along the side of your body that allow you to lift your hands up. opened up the sides of our bodies and come into a few gentle back bends. For our last one, I encourage you to try wheel. So place your hands down right by your ears, fingertips point towards your toes, and lift your hips and come up to the crown of your head. Maybe you stay here or come up onto your hands. Push into the feet to take the weight into your hands a little more, so you're feeling that same stretch in your upper body as you did when we were standing. Gently release down onto the mat. Extend your legs in front of you and your arms overhead. Point your toes, stretch out your fingers, and relax. We're gonna take an inversion here. So take whatever inversion works for you, whether it's handstand, forearm stand, shoulder stand, or even legs up the wall. But I'm going to talk about headstand here, so feel free to do this with me, otherwise you do you. So if you've never done headstand before, interlace your hands, place your forearms down onto your mat. So you're creating a triangle shape with your forearms, kind of like a basket. Come up onto your toes and place your head in the basket you've created with your hands. So maybe you stay here, or what you can do is make sure you're about a foot away from the wall if you've never done this before. You can kick up one foot, maybe the other, and your feet might touch the wall behind you. If you know you can do it in the middle of the room, feel free. Another option is to just keep one foot on the ground as you elevate the other. Just find what works for you and play with the pose, especially if you've never done it before. Staying here, whatever here is for you, for about a minute. Option to play with some leg variations, for example, letting your legs fall apart. If you're up, slowly come down. We'll all meet in child pose. Send breath to your shoulders and your low back. Come up into tabletop position. We'll take one last flow here, setting your chin and chest down onto the mat. Inhale, come forward into Cobra or Up Dog. Exhale, tuck your toes into Downward Dog. From Downward Dog, step your feet forward. Sit down, set your back onto the mat. We'll take your hands into cactus arms. So elbows will be at 90 degrees. Bring your knees up to 90. Wrap your left leg around the right. And let your hips fall towards the right. Gaze over your left shoulder and try your best to keep that left shoulder on your mat. Enjoying this gentle twist here. Other side, wrap your right leg around the left, let it fall to the left. Gaze goes over right shoulder. Roll onto your back again and wrap your hands around your shins, giving everything a nice big squeeze here. Be grateful for yourself for coming to the mat today. And gently release. Shavasana. Be aware of what your emotions are right now. And take note of everything that you physically feel, smell, hear, see. Let your body sink down into your mat. I'm going to end this video here, but I encourage you to stay on the mat for a few more minutes. Thank you all for sharing this practice with me. Namaste.